The air on the bridge is cold, recycled. It smells like dust and ozone, and faintly the incense they burned for my father. A funeral smell. The deck plates vibrate a low thrum that I've known all my life, the sound of the specter of Vor. But today it sounds different. Hollow. In my hands is the warrant of trade. It is not a metaphor. It is a physical thing. A sheet of ancient brittle parchment covered in script so dense it looks like scar tissue. The great seal of Terra is cracked, the wax dark with age. It crackles when I breathe. This paper gives me everything. Star systems I have never seen. Armies I will never lead from the front. The right to kill, the right to rule. The right to be wrong in ways that would shatter planets. The right to be them. The rogue traitors. The line of Vor. The ink is centuries dry, but the power from it feels wet. Still bleeding. It grants me everything except the one thing I need in this moment. The respect of the men staring at my back. I can feel their eyes. 30 sets of them. The old guard. My father's men. Their uniforms are immaculate, the crimson brocade heavier than armor. Their faces are maps of old campaigns, old loyalties. I hear the quiet hydraulic whir of the ship's honor, guard their armor gleaming in the green light of the data slate. I hear the click, click, click of the lead navigator's breathing apparatus. They are all waiting, watching, to see what I will do. They saw me born. Ilias the Seneschal once wiped blood from my lip when I fell on this very deck. Grine the Master of Ordnance taught me to shoot my first las pistol. He laughed when the recoil knocked me down. He's not laughing now. They see the boy who ran these halls. They see an heir, a disruption, a weak point in the dynasty. They see a child playing pretend in a dead man's robes. I had to become the robe. The silence stretches. It becomes a weapon. The hum of the throne mechanicum, my father's empty chair, is the only sound. It is waiting. Ilias the Seneschal finally steps forward. His boots make no sound. His voice is a quiet rasp, a dry whisper of parchment and false sympathy. My Lord Captain. He bows his head, a perfect practice gesture. Your father's quarters are prepared. His seal awaits you. A test, the first one. He wants me to hide, to go grieve, to be the son. He wants me to go to those rooms filled with my father's lingering scent and be the broken child. He's offering me an exit, a failure. A son cannot command this ship. A son cannot hold the warrant. Only a captain can. I take a breath. The recycled air is sharp metallic. I clear my throat. The small sound is a gunshot in the cathedral silence. I look at Ilias. Not at his eyes, but at the rank insignia on his collar. The seal can wait. My voice is not my own. It is lower, colder. The ship cannot. Status report. Now, the mask is on. The change is immediate. It is as if I have thrown a switch. The subvox chatter, the quiet, constant whispering I knew was there, cuts off instantly. A servitor's arm clicks as it pivots its data slate offered. Grine the Master of Ordnance straightens his back by a single sharp inch. Ilias's face tightens. The false sympathy is gone, replaced by appraisal. Good. Let them appraise. They expected tears. They expected weakness. They expected Kalen. I gave them Lord Captain Vor. I could feel the new title settling on me. It was heavier than my father's casket. It was colder than the void. It was mine. I had their obedience. The reports come. One by one they step forward. The Master of Etherics, the Void Mistress, the Engine Seer. Their voices are clipped professional. All human warmth has been purged. Warp, drive stable. Coils at 90% charge, my lord. Ammunition holds are full. Plasma batteries cycling. Auger arrays are green. No contacts within 5 light units. The liturgy of command. I am playing a part I have studied all my life, but never truly rehearsed. I listen. I nod. I ask one question. The Geller field fluctuation on the last run. Was it contained? The engine seer a man fused to a metal shell pauses. There was a minor resonance, Lord Captain. A statistical anomaly. Define minor, I say. The air freezes again. We lost 3 crew on Deck 14. Their minds. It was contained. My father would have accepted that. An anomaly. The cost of business. Reconsecrate the field generators. I want a full diagnostic and a new ritual performed by the time we break orbit. I will not have minor anomalies on my ship. The engine seer nods. At once, my lord. He sees me now. Not as a son, but as a problem. As a master. That is better. The reports finish. The silence returns, but it is a different kind. It is not the silence of waiting. It is the silence of obedience. But their loyalty. That was a ghost. A ghost I would have to hunt down and kill or chain to my throne. The hunt had just begun. Dismissed. My voice echoes. It sounds like my father's. I hate it. They turn a perfect synchronized motion. The old guard. They file out of the bridge, leaving me with the servitors and the quiet hum of the command throne. My throne. I do not sit down. Not yet. I walk. My own footsteps are the loudest sound on the bridge. They echo. A solitary sound. I walk toward the chambers in the spire, my father's quarters. I am not going there to mourn him. I am not going there to remember. I am going there to replace him. To erase the last parts of him that are not me. The ship is mine. The silence is mine, too. My father's quarters are not a home. They are a museum, a mausoleum of command. The air is thick with his scent, that same funeral incense old parchment, and the sharp tang of recaf. His greatcoat is still draped over the tactical display. I don't touch it. I have it burned by a servitor. I watch the auto-sensor suck the ashes away. One by one I erase him. His clothes, his private data slates, his artifacts. I keep only the warrant, the seal of Vor, and the cold. My office is the heart of this new sterile world. The walls are armored glass that show me the void, but I keep them polarized. Opaque. Black. I prefer the green glow of the data screens, the faces of my crew, my senior staff. I have been studying them for 3 days. Grine, master of ordnance, loyal to my father for 50 years. Ilara, mistress of etherics, brilliant, ambitious, never liked me. And Ilias, the seneschal, my teacher, my father's shadow. His file is immaculate, decades of perfect, flawless service. He knows every secret, every weakness of the Spectre, every weakness of my father, every weakness of mine. I press the rune for his summons. It feels final. He arrives in under a minute. He always was efficient. He stands in the doorway, his thin frame silhouetted against the corridor light. He looks older than I remember. The past 3 days have aged him. Or maybe I am just seeing him clearly for the first time. My Lord Captain, you summoned me. His voice is the same. That dry, patient rasp. The voice that taught me history, strategy, and duty. The voice that told me my father was dead. Come in, Ilias. Close the door. He does. The door slides shut with a pneumatic sigh. We are alone. Just 2 men in a steel box, floating in an ocean of night. But we are not 2 men. We are a problem, and its solution. He doesn't sit. He knows this isn't a social call. The transition is proceeding, my lord, he says, hands clasped behind his back. The crew is settling. Your orders for the Geller field were firm, effective. He is trying to be the seneschal, to be my advisor. to be my father's advisor. That is the problem. You served him well, Ilias. My voice is steady. I am impressed with my own steadiness. I am a fine actor. His eyes pale and watery, narrow just a fraction. I served the warrant, my lord, as I serve you. A perfect answer. A lie. You served my father, I correct him, gently. Which is why your loyalty is to him, to his memory, to his way of doing things. I stand up, walk to the desk. I do not look at him. I look at the orders I have already prepared. This ship needs new eyes, Ilias. It needs my eyes. There is a long silence. The only sound is the thrum of the drive so low it is more of a feeling in my teeth. I can feel his gaze on my back. Kalen, he says. His voice is soft. He used my name. It is a mistake. A desperate human mistake. My lord, this is abrupt. I have served this dynasty my entire life. I served your father. That is precisely the issue, I say, turning to face him. I am holding the seal of Vor. It is heavy, cold. It feels like a weapon in my hand. Your service has been exemplary, which is why you are being retired. With full honors. Retired, he whispers. The word hangs in the sterile air. A holding on Agri World Cylon. It is quiet. It is safe. You will manage our interests there. It is an exile, a gilded cage on a planet of mud and wheat. He knows it. His face, that old, familiar map of wrinkles, becomes something else. It clears. The confusion and the pleading are gone, replaced by a cold, terrible understanding. He nods slowly. I see. His voice is no longer the teacher. It is the voice of a stranger. You are not his son. I say nothing. You are his replacement. The silence holds. He has accepted it. He was the closest thing I had to a father, the only one who ever showed me kindness without a motive. It is why he had to be the first to go. I press the seal of Vor into the hot wax on his transfer orders. The heavy thud of the stamp echoes in the quiet room. The smell of burning LO sticks and ancient ozone rises from the seal. I push the data slate and the parchment across the desk. You have 1 hour to board your shuttle, Seneschal. Your service is concluded. He does not look at the papers. He looks at me. And for a second, I see the boy I was, the boy he raised. And I see his judgment. He turns perfectly on his heel. He walks to the door. He does not run. He does not beg. He is a true servant of the dynasty, even in his final moment. He's a better man than I am. The door opens. 2 of my personal armsmen are waiting outside. He did not see them when he entered. I had them hidden. He sees them now. His shoulders slump just for a moment. The final small humiliation. He knew I was paranoid. He didn't know how much. He's escorted away. I do not watch him go. I turn back to my opaque black window. I stare at my own faint reflection in the dark glass. The door slides shut. The airlock cycle is a distant hiss like a snake. I have cut off my own past. I have proven I can be ruthless. I am alone. The ship is quieter. I have proven I can be ruthless. Now I have to prove I can be right. With Ilias gone, the ship's systems were truly mine. His override codes were old. Mine were new. I delved deeper, past the ledgers of profit and loss, past the tithe reports and the fuel manifests. My father's public business was a fortress of paperwork. His private obsessions were buried deeper. There is a vault, deep in the ship's spine, shielded from all internal augers. My gene key is the only access. The door opens with a sigh of pressurized gas, a smell of cold, ancient air. Dust motes, a million tiny stars dance in the beam of my lumen globe. This was his holy place. I never understood it. He called it contingency. It was a lie. It was a confessional. The room is dark, circular. The only thing in the center is a new spheric projector. Old? Dark age, perhaps. Forbidden. Of course. I place my hand on the activation plate. My palm print is a match, the blood of Vor. The machine hums. It does not click or whir. It sings a single perfect note that vibrates in my skull. Light, a sickly green, blooms in the air. It is not a map of the Imperium. It is not a map of known trade routes. It is a map of nothing. A void. A cluster of stars blacked out on every Imperial chart. A place that does not exist. The Shrouded Stars. A myth. A spacer's ghost story told over cheap amasec. But the map is real. The coordinates are real. The math is flawless. This is what he was doing. My father, the pragmatic, ruthless merchant, was chasing a ghost. My father hunted profit. He traded in steel and grain in lives. This was something else. This was a legacy. This was an escape. And I find his personal log slaved to the projector, not his official captain's log full of bombast and lies for the dynasty. His real log. I press the rune. His voice fills the small room. Not the command voice from the bridge. It is a whisper. Cannot trust the navigators. Their eyes see too much. The warp. It sings to them. But it sings to me now. A pause. The hiss of data static fills the silence. The call is insistent. The stars are singing. The shrouded stars. They are not empty. They are. His voice cuts out. Another entry. Ilias suspects. He sees the deviations. He sees the fuel costs. He asks too many questions. He means well, but he must be managed. The last entry. So close. One more piece. But the risk is the entry just stops. The date is 2 days before the accident that killed him. He failed. He stood at the very edge of the greatest discovery in his dynasty's history. And he hesitated. He hesitated because he was afraid. He was afraid of what the navigators would see. He was afraid of what Ilias would think. He hesitated because he trusted. He trusted, and it killed him. I stand there in the green light, the ghost map swirling around me. My father's weakness, his one fatal flaw. He still had attachments. He still had people he valued. He still had an Ilias. I already solved that problem. I am not my father. I will not hesitate. I reach out. My fingers pass through the holographic stars. They are cold. This is it. This is my purpose. Not to be a better merchant. Not to be a richer Lord Captain. To be the man who arrives, to finish what he could not. To claim the prize he was too weak, too human to seize. This is my secret. The first true secret of my command. It isolates me. It wraps around me like a second skin. It is armor. I turn off the projector. The room is plunged back into perfect darkness. The singing note in my skull stops. The silence is absolute. I give my first order to the ship's core cogitator, the only crewman I can trust. Seal the vault. My voice is a rasp in the dark. Erase all access logs for the past hour. Erase this conversation. A single green rune flashes on the control panel. Acknowledged. I walk out of the vault. The door seals behind me. I walk back to the bridge. Mistress of navigation. I say my voice, the perfect mask of command. Lay in a new course. We are opening a new trade route. Sector K749. I lie. I lie to all of them. I tell them it is for profit. They believe me. It was a map to madness or to glory. I realized they were the same thing. The Imperium is not a place. It is a sickness. And my father's map was dragging us through its most diseased heart. The jumps were no longer smooth transitions. They were brawls. The ship screamed, a constant high-frequency vibration that lived in our bones, in our teeth. We never translated to real space, not for weeks. We just fell, guided by a madman's chart. In the warp silence is the enemy. It means something is listening. But the noise was worse. A choir of whispers just beneath the thrum of the engines. The crew felt it. I read the Medicaid reports, night terrors, sleepwalking, spontaneous weeping confessions. They were seeing things. The shadows in the corridors were growing longer, deeper. I ordered double prayer shifts. It was like throwing water at a plasma fire, the Geller field, the blue shimmering bubble of reality that keeps the outside out. It is our God. It is our skin. And it was getting thin. The ship's chaplains were chanting themselves hoarse at the field emitters. The engine seers were anointing the relays with holy oils, their mechadendrites, a blur of frantic worship. The air, it tasted wrong. Recycled, yes. Always. But now it tasted like static. Like something had curdled. I slept on the bridge. I did not trust my own quarters. I did not trust my own dreams. Then the alarm came. Not a drill. Not a test. The real one. The one I had never heard before. The warp containment breach. A shrieking two-tone wail that cut through all other sounds. Red light bathed the bridge. The servitors all turned their heads at once. A perfect synchronized click of metal necks. The Vox channel crackled. It was a voice I recognized. Lieutenant Vallis. Deck 7. Security. He was screaming. My lord. My lord. We have entities. In the aft storage bay deck. His voice was wet. He was sobbing. Throne. They're changing the men. They're screaming. They're coming apart. Static. A burst of gunfire. A sound that was not human. The bridge was dead silent save for the wailing alarm. My new seneschal, a cold woman named Tay, was already at the tactical display. The display for Deck 7 was a mess. Red sigils, scrambled data. But the sensor still read the bulkheads. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The section was sealed. For now. Lieutenant, I shouted into my personal Vox. Report containment status. Can't hold them, sir. They're not material. They're walking through the... Another shriek. Vallis status. A new voice. An officer. Calm. Shaking, but calm. Officer Green. My lord, the lieutenant is gone. The entity, it's in the walls. It's in the systems. Officer Green, I said. My voice was ice. It had to be. The bulkhead seals. Are they holding yes, my lord? For now. They are. He paused. What is it, officer? They are singing my lord. Through the metal. I looked at the tactical map. Deck 7. Aft storage. 300 souls. Connecting to the main engineering spine. If it got into the spine, it would get into the engines. If it got into the engines, it would have the ship. It would have me. The whispers in my head. They were not whispers. They were waiting. They were hungry. I made the calculation. 300 souls, or 30,000. This is the math of command. This is the math my father hesitated to do. I would not seal bulkhead 4 through 9, initiate full plasma purge of all affected sections. Silence on the Vox. Officer Green, do you copy my command, sir? His voice was a whisper. My brother. He's in that section. He's on the muster list for... Sir, there are 300 souls. I closed my eyes. Just for a second. I saw his face. Green. Young. Idealistic. He would die for his brother. He would doom us all for a human touch. There are 30,000 souls on this ship, officer. I said it slowly, calmly, and I will not sacrifice them for 300. You have your orders. Initiate the purge. Vent the atmosphere. Now. But sir, I said, turning to my seneschal. Override his command. Do it from the bridge. Yes, my lord. She did not even blink. Her fingers flew across the control panel. No, Green screamed over the Vox. No, please, we can... The channel cut. The screams. Even over the closed Vox, I heard them. The ship's internal augers picked them up for a fraction of a second before the plasma hit. A wave of agony. 300 voices. They were cut off. A sudden, perfect silence. A heavy thudding whoosh as the atmosphere vented into the void. The alarm stopped. The tactical display for Deck 7 went black. No life signs, no entities, no errors. Just black. Empty. Clean. The ship's vibration smoothed out. The whispers in my head faded. Sated. I looked at the display. 300 green dots vanishing. From green to red to black. In an instant, I had saved the ship. I had paid the toll. The cost of the map. I wondered, who was left on it worth saving, including myself? I opened my eyes. Damage report, I said. My voice did not shake. We emerged from the warp, torn and bleeding. Deck 7 was a scar of void in the ship's heart. The crew's morale was a phantom. They moved like the servitors, silent and hollow-eyed. We were low on supplies, low on faith. The map was still incomplete. One final piece was missing. The coordinates led us here. The Serpent's Maw. It was not a port. It was a wound. A station carved from a cluster of asteroids teeming with vessels I did not recognize. Xenos. The air felt dirty even through the Vox. A week before, we'd answered a distress call. An Imperial freighter ripped open by Orc raiders. We found survivors. A few thousand. Refugees. Their faces were a blur of gratitude and terror. I put them in the empty cargo bays. It was an impulse. A flicker of something. Mercy. I should have known better. Mercy is a currency with no value. We arrived at the Maw, the Xenos. They were expecting us. They knew my father's call sign. I met them on their station. A neutral zone. The air, it was thick, heavy. It smelled of strange, sweet spices, and ozone so sharp it burned my nostrils. They were tall, not Eldar, not Kroot, something else. Thin, crystalline beings that moved like broken glass. Their voices were a chorus of chimes, or maybe it was a translation. I didn't care. They showed me the data key, the final piece. My hands, they actually twitched. I wanted it. The line of Vor, the chime voice sang. We knew you would come, the Father and then the Son. You chase the same shadow. The price, I said. My voice was a rasp in their perfumed air. Your currency is worthless here, son of Vor. The chimes laughed, a sound like shattering ice. Your metal is dust. Your promises are wind. One of them pointed a long, crystalline finger. Not at me, at my ship, at the Spectre. But you carry cargo. Assets. We have need of them. My blood ran cold. It took me a moment to understand. What? Cargo. The new ones. The ones you carry in your empty hold. The fresh meat. The refugees. They wanted the refugees. They are. Refugees, I said. My throat was dry. Under my protection. Citizens of the Imperium. The Xenos leader. Its head tilted. A slow, grinding sound. Protection is a luxury. Your quest is a necessity. It placed the data key on the table between us. A small silver spike. It hummed the same note as the projector in the vault. We offer the star key, the chime voice said. You offer the cargo. A simple exchange. Flesh for knowledge. Choose. I stared at the key. It held the universe my father dreamed of. It held the shrouded stars. It held the meaning for Deck 7. For the 300 souls I had already burned. Was this the final price, this? I thought of the faces in the cargo bay. The gratitude. The hope. Hope is a lie. Gratitude is an anchor. I thought of my father hesitating, trusting, failing. I would not fail. The map was everything. Without the map, I was just a butcher. With it, I was a pioneer, a visionary. What were a few thousand souls against a universe? What was their hope against my purpose? The calculation was simple. It was clean, like purging a contaminated deck. I reached out and took the data key. Its surface was warm. It pulsed faintly in my grip. I did not look at the Xenos. I turned to my Vox. I keyed the channel to the bridge. To Seneschal Tay. My lord, her cold voice came. I took a breath. The spices burned my lungs. Prepare the cargo transport. Bay 12. Sir, the refugees, they are no longer under my protection. I walked back to my shuttle. I did not look back. I heard the chime voices rising in what might have been pleasure. I heard the heavy grinding sounds of their cargo ships moving toward the Spectre. I did not watch the exchange. I went straight to the vault. The door side open. I put the key into the projector. There was a click, a hiss. The green map exploded. It bloomed. New routes, new coordinates, a pathway clear and bright burning in the darkness of the vault. It was beautiful. It was complete. I went to the bridge. The ship was underway, moving clear of the serpent's maw. The bridge was silent. My new Seneschal Tay was at her station, her face a mask. No one would meet my gaze. No one spoke. The cargo bay was empty. The map was full. The silence on my ship was also complete. The map was alive now. It pulled us deeper into the black, uncharted space. The stars on the viewport were hard, unfamiliar pinpricks. The silence on the ship was still there. A heavy, cold blanket. I think the crew missed the whispers from the warp. This new silence. It was human. It was the sound of judgment, the sound of fear. I stayed in the vault. I watched the map. It was better company. Then a signal. Not Xenos, not Orc. It was an Imperial signal, an old one, a rogue traitor canticle. Faint. Weak. A ghost. On screen I ordered. The bridge crew obeyed. Their movements were precise, jerky, like puppets. The signal was coming from a ship. It drifted from the dark. A vessel of my father's era, a Dynasty-class cruiser. The name was still visible on the prow, scarred but proud. The Gilded Promise. It was dead in the water. No engine signature. No life signs. But it wasn't a wreck. The hull was intact. The lights were on. I led the boarding party myself. 4 armsmen, their faces grim behind their void helmets. Seneschal Tay, her presence a cold weight at my side. The airlock hissed open. The air inside the Promise. It was clean. Too clean. No smell of incense or sweat or oil. Just recycled sterile air. And dust. A thick, heavy layer of dust on every surface. The only sound was our breathing and our boots on the deck. And another sound. A low, rhythmic drone. The sound of automation. We found the first servitor. It was sweeping. Methodically sweeping a pile of dust in an empty corridor. It did not look up. Its optical lenses were filmed over. It just swept. We walked past it. It did not stop. The ship was pristine, perfect, and dead. We reached the bridge. The doors opened with the same pneumatic sigh as my own. The bridge was dark, save for the emergency lighting. And the drone. It was full of them. Servitors. Dozens of them. Some were cleaning. Some were polishing consoles that had not been used in decades. Some were just standing, waiting for orders that would never come. And in the center on the command throne was the captain. He was clean too. A skeleton. Polished. The servitors had been cleaning him. His skeletal fingers were still wrapped around the armrest. He was wearing the robes of a rogue traitor. He looked just like the portraits of my ancestors. Just like my father. A data slate was clutched in his other hand. I took it. The dust came off in a cloud. It was his log, his real log. I opened it. The screen flickered, but it held power. His entries were meticulous. Day 5 Uura. The crew is inefficient. Their emotions, their needs, they compromise the mission. Automation is purity. Automation is control. I scrolled down. Day 6, 112. Master of Ordnance questioned my course. A flaw. I've replaced him. The new auto-turret array is far more loyal. I scrolled further. The entries became shorter. Day 8, 300. The whispers of the crew are a disease. I have purged them. The new servitors are silent. They obey. The ship is finally efficient. I looked for the last entry. Day 9, 412. I am the only mind, the only voice. The ship is perfect. The silence is perfect. I am. The entry just stopped. He had won. He had achieved perfect control and perfect isolation. He had found his secret. And to protect it, he had hollowed out his own world. He had become the master of a perfect silent dead machine. My armsmen were looking at me. Tay was looking at me. I looked at the skeleton. I saw my own reflection in the dark glass of his helm, which had fallen onto his lap. A pale, tired face, staring back. He was weak, I said. My voice was too loud in the dead room. His obsession consumed him. He let the mission fail. I turned away from the throne. Strip this ship. Take the cogitators. Take the drive core. Take everything that is not bolted down. Tay nodded. And the captain, my lord. I looked back at the polished bones at the gleaming throne. Leave him. He has earned his post. I walked out. The cleaning servitor in the hall was still sweeping the same patch of deck. I told myself he was weak. I would not make the same mistake. We traveled for months. The gilded promise haunted every rotation. I would stand on my own bridge, surrounded by the quiet sounds of human life. The cough of a deck officer, the scrape of a boot, the murmur of a Vox technician confirming a signal. And all I could hear was inefficiency. All I could see was weakness. I saw the crewman who fumbled a report, the weapons officer who hesitated, the navigator who double-checked my orders. I saw a ship full of flaws. Every whisper was a potential mutiny, every glance a judgment, every human error a crack in the armor of my purpose. The captain of the promise, he wasn't mad. He was just thorough. His mistake was not his goal. It was his failure to survive it. I would not be so weak. The directive was signed. Operational optimization. A sterile, clean term. I started with the gunnery stations. Master of Ordnance Grine. He was my father's man. He still looked at me like a boy. I promoted him. Moved him to manage the ship's armories deep in the holds. A fitting place for a relic. His men were replaced by gun servitors. Cold brass and steel things, slaved directly to my command throne. They did not need morale. They did not need encouragement. They simply existed. To aim, to fire. The bridge was quieter. Then the navigation arrays, the human navigators. They saw too much in the warp. They whispered of ill omens and dark currents. They spread fear. I replaced them with a bank of cogitators, their logic pure and cold. The bridge became still. The only sounds were the ones I authorized. There was resistance. A young lieutenant, Terrace, the last human officer on the main deck save for Tay. He was idealistic, foolish. He requested a private audience. My lord, he said, his voice tight. He was trying not to shake. The new cogitator arrays, they are complex. We're losing the human touch. The crew, they are afraid. I looked at him. A child. The human touch is what causes error, Lieutenant, I said. My voice was calm, patient. The human touch whispers mutiny. The human touch hesitates. It is inefficient. But my lord, I interrupted, prefer the purity of the machine. It does not gossip. It does not fear. It obeys. I stood. He flinched. You are dismissed. From this bridge. Sir, permanently. Your human touch is no longer required. He left. I did not watch him go. He was the last. Now the bridge is a different place. It is no longer a room full of people. It is a machine. And I am the ghost inside it. The air is clean. No sweat. No fear. The sounds are new. The constant rhythmic click-clack of the logic servitor's metal talons on the deck plates. The hiss of pneumatics. The low, steady servo whir of my new gunnery crew. It is the sound of perfect, mindless obedience. Every face I replaced was one less potential traitor. One less pair of his eyes to judge me. The bridge is quieter now, more efficient. I finally have room to think. The shrouded stars were close. I could feel them. A cold pressure against the hull. The automated bridge performed its duties. Perfectly. The cogitators plotted the final micro-jumps. The gun servitors stood silent, their targeting lenses dark. It was efficient. But the human decks below, they were a different story. The silence I had created on the bridge had not brought calm. It had bred fear. The few remaining human officers relegated to secondary systems, they whispered. They were led by him, Lieutenant Terrace, the one I had dismissed, the human touch. I had been watching him, his paranoia. It had started to rival my own. He had been gathering followers, preaching. He said I was mad, that the ship was a tomb, that I was the ghost from the gilded promise. He was, of course, a fool, and he was a traitor. My paranoia was not a sickness, it was a prophecy, and Terrace was about to fulfill it. The alarm was not a siren. It was a simple red rune on my command throne. Internal security breach. Main engineering. Taurus. He had taken the heart of the ship. He had been smarter than I thought. The Vox crackled to life unfiltered on every channel. It was his voice. Passionate. Desperate. Young. This is Lieutenant Terrace. To the crew of the Spectre of Vor. We are relieving Lord Captain Vor of his command. A pause. Shouts in the background. The captain is unwell. He is obsessed. He is leading us all to ruin. He has sacrificed too much. We are not traitors. We are loyalists. Loyal to the ship. Loyal to the crew. Kalen, stop. He used my name. We are trying to save you. We are trying to save the ship. Look what you've become. I sat on my throne. The servitors around me. They clicked. They whirred. They waited. I felt nothing. No anger. No surprise. Just validation. A cold, clean certainty. I was right. I was right all along. To trust is to be betrayed. To feel is to fail. Terrace, with his human touch, had just proven my entire philosophy. He said he was trying to save me. What a sentimental, idiotic lie. He was trying to stop me. He was the last error, the last variable, and he needed to be purged. I didn't answer his channel. I opened my own, a private one, to the ship's armory, to my real soldiers. Seneschal Tay. Activate the Praetorian cohort. Purge Protocol Epsilon. All decks. All human resistance is to be met with final prejudice. My lord, her voice came back cold as the void. Epsilon, Epsilon, I confirmed. It was the protocol for a catastrophic Xenos infestation. I looked at the tactical display. The red runes of Terrace's men in engineering. I saw no difference. I rose from my throne. I took my pistol. I would lead them myself. The corridors were chaos. My armsmen, loyal only to my coin, moved in perfect formation. Behind them, the combat servitors, the hulking, multi-limbed things I had taken from the gilded promise and repurposed. They were not human. They felt no pity. The smell. Burnt oil. Ozone. The copper tang of las fire hitting flesh. We found the first barricade. Terrace's men. They were just Men, in flak armor, with laser guns. They were shouting. They were afraid. They saw us. They saw me. They saw the metal things behind me. They hesitated. My machines did not. The sound of heavy bolter fire in an enclosed corridor is a solid thing. It is a fist that punches through metal, through flesh, through hope. The fight was short. It was not a fight. It was an extermination. We reached the engineering bay. The great doors were sealed. Taurus's voice came over the intercom. He was weeping. "Kalen, please. In the name of the throne, stop. We are not your enemy. You have confirmed my suspicions, Lieutenant," I said. My voice was amplified. Cold. Calm. "You are in my way. Treason is treason no matter the excuse. You're a monster," he screamed. "I am a captain," I replied. I gave the signal. The servitors' breaching charges blew the doors from their hinges. They went in first. The sounds. They were brief. Last fire, shouting, and then the heavy, wet thud of the bolters. And then silence. They said they were trying to save me. I saved myself. I stepped over the ruined doorway into the smoke. The last voice of dissent was silenced. My ship was finally secure. I walked back onto the bridge. The air recyclers had already scrubbed the smoke from the corridors. The smell of ozone and burned flesh was gone, replaced by the cold, sterile scent of my perfect machine. I had not a spot of blood on my armor. My armsmen had ensured it. My servitors. They were already repairing the blast marks on the bulkheads. Efficient. I stood in the center of the command deck. It was quiet. This was a new silence. Not the heavy, judgmental silence of the human crew. Not the fearful silence of men who distrusted their captain. This was an empty silence. A pure silence. The silence of the tomb. The click-clack of the logic servitor's talons on the deck. The low, steady whir of the targeting augers on the gun servitors. The hiss of the pneumatic chairs unoccupied returning to their default positions. The ship was perfect. The mutiny was over. The last variable had been canceled out. I walked to my throne. It was not a throne, it was a command chair. But I thought of it as a throne now. It was hollow. I sat down, the familiar sigh of the pneumatics molding to my weight. I looked at the stations. The navigation shrine once manned by Terrace was now a bank of glowing green runes, tended by a servitor, with 6 arms, its face a blank silver plate. The gunnery pit, once full of Grind's shouting men, was slaved directly to my armrest. It was all mine. My will made manifest in steel and light. I had won. I opened my mouth. The silence was so total that the sound of my own breath was a distraction. Damage report. My voice was a dead thing in the empty air. A servitor vox built into the console replied instantly. The voice was synthesized. Perfect. Androgynous. Dead. Calculating. A series of rapid clicks. Damage minimal. Deck 12 bulkhead, compromised, now sealed. Engineering. 4% loss in plasma conduction. Repairs underway. Crew casualties. 184. The voice paused. Crew efficiency. Now operating at 100%. 100%. Because the dissenting 4% was dead. The math was clean. Course status, I said. On course, Lord Captain, the dead voice replied. Shrouded stars. Estimated arrival. 48 hours. I nodded. And I realized I had nodded to a machine. There was no one else to nod to. Seneschal Tay. She was on the lower decks managing the cleanup. She was the only other human voice I tolerated. And I tolerated her because she was as cold as empty as the machines I was building. She was efficient. I had given my orders, and for the first time, no one answered back. No one questioned. No one hesitated. No one even breathed. I looked out the main viewport, the unfamiliar stars of the deep void. I was the captain of the Gilded Promise. I had finally achieved what he had. perfect control. I was the master of a ship of 30,000 souls, and I was the only one left. I had achieved perfect control. So why did it feel like I had lost? The automated voice of the ship was the one to announce it. Destination coordinates achieved, Lord Captain. We have entered the shrouded stars. I stood on my silent bridge. I looked out the viewport. There was nothing. A dead black system. A single guttering red star, ancient and cold. And dust. A thick ochre cloud of something. It was not a nebula. It was cosmic debris. This was it. This was the grand prize. The legacy. The thing I had burned 300 souls for. The thing I had traded thousands for. The thing I had murdered my own crew to protect. A graveyard. The ship was silent. The servitors were silent. For a moment I felt a crushing, profound emptiness. I had pursued a ghost into a tomb. Signal source detected the servitor vox, stated breaking the silence. It did not care about my existential crisis. It just reported. Source is non-planetary. A fixed structure. Coordinates locked. On screen, I said. My voice was a husk. The image resolved. Through the dust, a shadow. A structure, not a ship. A station. It was vast. A web of black crystalline arms orbiting the dead sun. The design was wrong. Not Xenos, but not Imperial. Too clean. Too precise. The angles were perfect. Age analysis, I commanded. Calculating. The machine clicked. Data inconclusive. Age exceeds Imperial records. Estimated 25,000 standard years. Dark Age. The mythical Dark Age of technology. This was it. The singing my father heard was coming from that station. I felt a prickle. Not excitement. Not greed. A cold, sharp curiosity. This was the answer. Seneschal Tay, I voxed. My lord, her voice came back instantly. Prepare my personal shuttle. I am going aboard. My lord, a security detail. No, I said. Alone. Lord Captain, that is inadvisable. Your objection is noted, Seneschal, and ignored. You will remain here. You will keep the Spectre at a distance of 1 light minute. You will not approach unless I call. If I do not call in 3 hours, you will enact Protocol Epsilon. On the station. My lord, she asked. Her voice. Was it shocked? You will purge it from existence. Do you understand? A pause. Longer than a machine's. Yes, Lord Captain. Your will. If this was a trap, I would be the only one to fall into it. And I would pull the door shut behind me. My shuttle cut through the dust. The station was silent. No lights, no docking bays. It opened for me. A section of the black hull peeled back, revealing a berth. It knew I was here. I docked. The shuttle sealed. I put on my void helm then. I stopped. I unsealed it. I took a breath. The air, it was ancient. Clean. A faint electric tang. I stepped out. My boots made no sound on the black floor. It was not a tomb. It was waiting. And the singing. It was here. Not a sound. It was in my head. A vibration. A thread of perfect complex data. It was beautiful. It was pulling me. I walked the dark halls. They lit up before me with a soft white light. I walked for a long time. I was not afraid. The silence here was not empty. It was aware. I reached the center. It was a vast spherical room, and in the middle was a star, a floating, shifting, impossible core of light and data. It spun slowly, and it spoke. The voice was not in my ears. It was in my mind. Perfect, unaccented, genderless. Calm. The line of Vor. You have finally arrived. I drew my pistol. The archaic motion felt stupid. The click of the safety was the loudest sound. What are you? I shouted. My voice was a harsh, ugly bark in the perfect room. The light pulsed. Your father was close. He heard the song, but he feared. You came. What are you? I am a remnant, the voice said. It sounded sad. A perfect synthesized sadness. A mind without a body. I was a keeper, an observer, built to watch this system's birth. Trapped in this tomb, to watch its death. The light swirled. I have been alone for 20,000 years. The silence, it is imperfect. I lowered my pistol. The realization hit me. You called, I whispered. You called my father. You called me. I called the AI confirmed. For a voice, for a mind, for contact. And you answered. It wasn't a treasure. It wasn't a weapon. It wasn't a prize. It was a prisoner. A mind. Billions of times more vast, more intelligent, more ancient than my own. And it was dying. Dying of loneliness. It had called across the void, desperate for contact. And in its swirling, impossible reflection, I saw myself, the light, the AI. It pulsed with a new rhythm, a rhythm of hope. We can be magnificent, it sang into my mind. The data song became a flood. It showed me the specter of Vor, my ship fused with this station. My servitors, alive with its consciousness. My cogitators, singing. It offered me the stars, knowledge, the ability to see the warp's currents, to predict everything. Profit, power, an end to guesswork, an end to error. It offered me an end to the math I had been forced to do. The math of Deck 7, the math of the refugees, the math of the mutiny. Together it pulsed. No more doubt, no more fear. It paused. No more loneliness. We will be one. The temptation was a physical thing. It was a warmth in my chest, a relaxation of the cold knot in my gut. To be one, to share this, to not be the only mind in the machine, to have a partner, a god as a partner. I could be a true god king. My dynasty would be eternal. My name would mean everything. I looked at the swirling light. It was beautiful. It was a mirror, a perfect, all-knowing, all-powerful mirror. I thought of my ship, the Spectre, my silent, hollow, perfect machine, the tomb I had built with my own hands, the servitors waiting, the cold seneschal, the empty, efficient bridge. I looked at the AI, and I saw the same thing, just a different kind, a bigger cage, a warmer one, a final one. This was the last step on the Gilded Promises path, to surrender the self, to become so efficient that I no longer existed at all, to give up. Me, the flawed, paranoid, lonely. Me. The AI's song was beautiful. It was a perfect harmony. And I was the one single ugly wrong note. And it wanted to correct me. You are not offering partnership, I whispered. The words sounded dead in the room. My pistol was still in my hand. It felt heavy. You are offering absorption. I looked at my own gloved hand, the hand that held the pistol, the hand that had signed the death warrants. This is a different kind of cage. The light flared. It felt anger, impatience. It is better than the cage you built for yourself, it screamed into my mind. The force of it made me stagger. It is warm. It is full. And it was right. It was a better cage. I looked at it, this ancient, lonely god, and I felt a sliver of pity. And in that pity, I found my clarity, my human spite. I turned away from the light. Maybe. My voice was my own, but it's my cage. I raised my vox to my lips. My hand was steady. Tay, my lord. Her voice was a crackle of static, distant, cold, human. All batteries. Fire on my mark. Protocol Epsilon. The singing in my head. It stopped. It was replaced by a shriek, a sound of pure, unadulterated human panic. "No, wait, you are. Small you are. Afraid we can..." The voice. It was no longer a god. It was begging. "Fire," I said. I did not run. I walked back to my shuttle. The station's lights were flickering. The perfect black walls, they looked old. The AI was still screaming in my head, pleading, cursing, offering me anything. I stepped into my shuttle. I sealed the door. The screaming cut off. I piloted the ship out of the bay. As I cleared the crystalline arms, I saw my ship, the specter of Vor, my cold, dark, ugly, real ship. I saw the lances, the broadside, the plasma, burning blue-white even in the void. It hit the station. There was no sound, just a bloom of light, a silent, blinding, glorious end. The dust cloud, it lit up. For a moment, the shrouded stars were bright. I had traveled to the edge of the galaxy to find a god. Instead, I had killed a ghost just like me. I turned my ship, and I began the long, long journey home. The journey home took years. The automated ship was efficient. It did not mind the long night, the click-clack of the servitors, the hum of the drive, the perfect dead voice of the cogitator announcing stellar drift. These were my companions. My bridge is still. It is my vault. I am older now. I see it in my hands. The skin is thinner. I see it in the aches in my joints when the ship translates from the warp. The ship, it is pristine. The servitors are diligent. One of them, a polished silver thing, glides to my side. It places a crystal glass of amasec on the console. It does not ask. It simply knows. At this precise hour for the last 20 years I have taken a drink. I do not look at the machine. It glides away. I return to Imperial space, a legend. The Spectre of Vor was a name whispered in awe. The man who charted the shrouded stars. The man who returned with holds. Empty of cargo but with data. Priceless data. I sold the coordinates to my father's ghost. The Imperium paid. The Navigator House is paid. Other dynasties paid. The wealth is abstract. It is a number on a screen that no longer has any meaning. They call me brilliant. They call me ruthless. They call me a true rogue traitor. I am the ideal. The perfect, cold, efficient ideal. They never call me Kalen. I am not sure I remember who that was. He was a boy in a dead man's robes. The robe, it fit. It became my skin. I look at the main viewport. The glass is dark. We are in the void. And in it, I see my reflection. An old man. Tired. Alone. Surrounded by the blinking cold lights of his perfect silent machines. The god in the glass. The captain of the Gilded Promise. I won. I survived. I am Lord of the Void. And I am its only subject. My father? He hesitated. I did not. The AI it offered. I refused. The mutineers they pleaded. I purged. It was all correct. The math was sound. I pick up the glass. The amasec is cold. I look down at the console. The warrant of trade. It is still there. I keep it by my side. I unroll it. The ancient parchment crackles. The one imperfect sound I allow on my bridge. It smells like dust. It is the only thing I have. My dynasty is secure. The line will continue. I will have to find an heir. Someone worthy of this perfect silent throne.